Welcome to another episode of the OTTRED Spotlight podcast. I feel very privileged to be joined by Annamaria Recchia today, who is the VP of Commercial Development and Marketing at Eutelsat. Eutelsat is a fascinating organization that covers 65 million homes on the planet. And we're going to be speaking about the global coverage, but also the nuances associated to this region while Annamaria is here at CABSAT. Annamaria, welcome to the OTTRED Spotlight
Thank you
podcast.
very much.
I can remember us talking about doing this months ago. We were sat at Media One. We were talking about how fantastic it would be to get you on the podcast. And we were having a conversation about Eutelsat and just how mind-blowing some of the stuff that you guys do is, but also your career. You've had a pretty amazing career. First of all, your academic qualifications that springboarded you into the organization. If you don't mind, I'd love to start with that because I have a fundamental belief that our industry is still about the people. That's the heartbeat of our industry in every different dimension. So let's start with you.
Okay, with pleasure. It's really good to be here today with you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
So I started my career in Eutelsat in the innovation department because I'm a telecommunication engineer by training. So it's really fascinating by what we could do to bring this brilliant technology to the people. And I had the chance to work on several projects, including mobility and the connectivity for objects back in the time for IoT. And then I moved into the organization on a pre-sales role, so supporting from a technical perspective our sales organization. I was lucky enough to run the global pre-sales teams for Eutelsat during many years. And more recently, I've joined the video business unit in charge of the marketing, commercial development, and product. So it's really an important and amazing time to be working in this industry, in the satellite space, because there are so many things happening in such a short time, such as the arrival of the LEO satellites constellation. We'll talk about this later. And also all the streaming innovation that we are bridging with our satellite offers. And it's really amazing for us.
I remember when we were sat in Media One having that conversation over our coffees and just thinking how amazing it is that you came from a very high level of academic qualification into the business, but the way that you've worked your way up as well. You really, really know the pedigree of the products. You understand the commercial landscape. And the thing that always gets me when we speak, Annamaria, is you've got a look in your eye when you speak about it. You enjoy it.
I truly enjoy what I do, yes. And this is, I think this is what we have in common in this industry. You might agree with me. Because at the end, it's an industry really full of passionate people who truly enjoy the media space and what they're doing. That's
what I enjoy about it. That's the people. That's, like I said, it's the people that make this industry every day for me. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Look, the brand elevation that this podcast over the last 5 seasons has brought for OTTRED, my brand, and in this season, sponsors as well, is something that I want to make available to you. If you're enjoying this podcast and you'd like to get this section of the next season to elevate your own brand, then please reach out to me. So for people who maybe don't know the kind of satellite dimension of the sector, the business, how essential it is for the infrastructure that supports all of the content that we receive all over the planet, let's just do 2 minutes on a high level education for people. Talk to me about what the satellite infrastructure is on the planet and why it's so important.
Absolutely. Just a number regarding the Eutelsat global audience and the technical reach. We actually reach on a daily basis 1 billion people on the planet.
That's crazy.
Thanks to our geostationary satellite, we're transmitting over Americas, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific. And so we carry both video content, TV channels, but also radio, which are still very essential today. And when it comes to the MENA region, we're number one of this region with 65 million, you were mentioning before, of households receive on a daily basis art
To me,
channels.
Annamaria, these are incomprehensible numbers. It's
Exactly.
hard to imagine 65 million of anything.
Huge, yes. And that's the power of broadcast, which is really a strong and reliable infrastructure, and still is very at the core of the content distribution today. And so this is our strong foundation on which we are building innovative products to bring to the end viewers the latest user experience. So the streaming part of thing.
Absolutely. What invigorates me when I think about the constellation of organizations on your competitive horizon is the energy that you guys have got towards what you do. I mean, we've spoken before about your hybrid offering, a kind of transformative mindset. When you think about the moment we're in now, unpack the relevance and why it's so pertinent, the hybrid kind of characteristics to the way that you operate and what you're bringing.
We are truly believer of a hybrid strategy when it comes to distribute content across the globe. And people who are receiving their daily news channel or entertainment channel really don't care about the infrastructure behind. They want the best effective and most compelling way of consuming their content. So at the end, satellite is still a very reliable way of bringing that content when it comes to live sports, high quality and broadcast grade content. And of course, we are building on that the hybrid experience, the way to consume on your mobile, on your laptop, handset, on the move. And this is what users are looking for. Reliable infrastructure, but also diverse and effective.
Yeah. There was, you probably know Maria Aguate from Omdia. She's fantastic.
Good friend
I was
of
at
us.
I attended one of her presentations earlier this week, and she was talking about the number of different ways that people consume content now. Hearing you talk about your hybrid offering just brings relevance to the way that the entire market and the topology of the infrastructure is designing itself to service that need as well.
Absolutely. We must not forget that 80% and more of the global internet capacity is today consumed by video content and video applications. So that's why it's essential as an industry to find the best way to offload those networks, and broadcast and multicast application are still very effective when it comes to mass market and mass audience distribution of live content. And we do not forget in the global picture the sustainability impact that it has. When consuming content through the mobile networks, the carbon footprint is much more intense than when watching through a broadcast infrastructure. And simply, the networks are not prepared to what comes next, because this consumption is growing at an incredible pace.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so simply piling up unicast capability or CDN capabilities won't be enough to switch off broadcasting infrastructure, both satellite or terrestrial ones.
Sustainability is such a huge thing. I saw something last week, I think, around the amount of power data centers are consuming now with the increased demand due to AI. And, it's the trajectory of the graph that I saw was kind of scary. You talk about sustainability, but reliability is also something that's super important. And I know that's really high on the agenda when it comes to what you offer.
Exactly. And this is part of the hybrid strategy, because, of course, relying on the terrestrial network to distribute content or to get internet connectivity is very powerful. But having a satellite complementary way to distribute content to the edge or to distribute content to the end user is still a safe way to keep up its operations.
Yeah. I feel like you guys have got such a strong agenda at the moment. It's kind of, I feel like satellite and the relevance of what you speak about whenever we interact is just so relevant. It's almost found this crescendo moment, and then you've got You're showcasing some amazing stuff at CabSat. You know, you mentioned Leo as well. It's a good opportunity for us to touch on that because, you know, from a strategic perspective, you've got some brilliant things to speak about, but there are some tangible assets within the Eutelsat portfolio at the moment too.
Absolutely. As part of our global strategy, on top of innovating on our premium video orbital position, we're also building a strong connectivity strategy based on our GEO and LEO hybrid offering there, so multi-orbit, with the integration of Eutelsat OneWeb and the LEO constellations, which covers the globe. We have also low latency and high throughput connectivity offer. And so there's much to be done there to bring connectivity to places which are in high demand on that, both in rural areas, but also for enterprises, for backup applications, and for mobility, maritime, hydro. There's also a huge demand in the government space. We're part of the HighRiskWare consortium with other European partners to bring sovereign capabilities to Europe. And we are also using our IP-based assets, such as the LEO constellation or other connectivity asset for video application.
Partially for myself, but entirely for myself, to be honest, Annamaria, but almost definitely for people who are watching or listening as well. Talk to me in layman's terms around what LEO is.
LEO is LEO satellite. LEO is an acronym, low Earth orbit satellite, are smaller ones compared to LEO, which travels around the globe. They're placed at much lower height compared to the traditional GEO satellites, and so they offer low latency capabilities because the signal travel closer to the Earth, and proximity and global coverage because the constellation of the satellites covered globe, and also high throughput, reliability, by design, internet-based, IP-based, let's say, internet protocol-based. So they have a number of advantages.
Yeah. It's, you know, whenever the topic of data centers comes up as well and where content is held, proximity comes out, and now we're talking about it with you guys. The demand of the market is such that I think consumers now, when it comes to buffering or dropped payments or anything like that with the service that they're interacting with on whatever platform, is just so important to the streaming channels and even the public service broadcasters with what they've got.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important, even for our customers, the public service broadcaster, to keep this multi-channel strategy, to be there where the audience is. So I'm truly a believer in this strategy to reach different audiences, to keep up the broadcast space, the social media now, the streaming, the HVOD offer, what we call the BVOD, HVOD, all the acronyms.
Yeah. We live in an industry full of acronyms. Yeah. I thought you were going to mention gaming then, because if you were not going to mention it, I was definitely going to mention
Absolutely.
it. What's your perspective of that dimension of the market? Because I think you've got something on your stand that I want to come to as well.
Absolutely. Come and see us.
eSports Simulator.
We have an eSports simulator because we are transmitting live now a bouquet of e-gaming and eSports channel in partnership with eClutch, a media company. And so particularly in the MENA region and Saudi, it's really an important and growing space in the media landscape.
Yeah, I see so much convergence with
absolutely,
music, gaming, video.
We're trying to bring this broadcast grade quality content to the main screen because also, despite what everyone was saying a few years ago, TV is still at the center of the content consumption, even when it comes to streaming or YouTube content. So we are bringing by satellite this very compelling eSports content because we think that there's definitely a demand for it.
eSports fascinates me, Annamaria, because I think that eSports is this kind of grey zone at the moment between, you've got live, you've got sport, and then
social
eSports,
media.
Formula E. I'm thinking particular Formula E.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a real sport. It's really happening. but there's this electronic dimension to it where people can interact with what's happening on the track, in the cars, from all over the planet. Now, that requires a high degree of integrity in the connectivity that's powering the whole infrastructure.
Absolutely. And again, you have a lot of pieces into play, both the content side, the live side, the social media, the connectivity.
How are you feeling about 2025, 2026? It feels like there's a really exciting moment. And I can speak for this region. There's so much buoyancy in MENA. Almost every day I'm having conversations with people about Saudi Arabia as well. I was in Riyadh last week and it was amazing. What's your perspective of this region and the next kind of 2 or 3 years? What are you thinking?
I think this region is really booming in terms of number of applications, companies. Also from the space perspective, there are a number of new actors and established actors. So we are quite optimistic about our future and our plans for MENA and the region and Saudi too.
Yeah. Are you feeling that at CAPSAT? Is there that kind of buoyancy, the energy on the floor?
I can feel this energy on the floor. Yesterday, day one was pretty busy for us. And I can feel that it's much better than maybe last year and past 2 years.
Yeah, I think that. I've been here for the last 2 years, and I have to admit there's a distinctly different feeling in the tangibility, the kind of commercial appetite this year, I think. And I've heard that from a lot of people as well. So it's interesting to hear that you've picked that up too. Hopefully you see it in the order book too.
Hopefully.
Final question for you, Annamaria. I always extend this question to anybody that comes on the podcast. More of a personal question than a business question, but you've got a super senior position. You travel all of the time. You get to see a lot of the planet. The business that you work in is amazing and fascinating. I can see that you love it. But when you look back across the course of your career, if you could give some advice to the younger you, what would it be?
To the younger me, I think to keep learning is the most important thing, and to keep doing what you love, because this is really the driver for your career. At the beginning of the career, it's really important to be curious, to be fast learner, to jump into something we don't really understand 100%, but it's important to have this mindset of a continuous learner, and this would be the first piece of advice. And then, of course, to go where the passion is, to be in alignment with what we like to do, because this is the key driver, which allows you to move forward and to progress in your career.
I feel like you still feel that.
Yeah, I am truly in alignment with what I love. I love the industry.
I can imagine that if I spoke to any of your team, they would say that about you.
We should ask.
Yeah, maybe that could be the next podcast. We can get them and ask their opinion.
Absolutely.
Annamaria Recchia, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, for participating in a lot of the stuff that we do with OTTRED as well. I really appreciate the relationship that we have with Eutelsat, and I really hope that CAPSAT is a fantastic event for you.
Thank you very much for having me today.